Welcome to a new test and teardown video. This time it's another mobile phone for cars. Well, of course this is permanently installed into a car between 1960 and 1970, something like that, right? And this one is from Storno. And it is called CQM69. This model, let me get some light here. This one is FM and it operates on UHF 420 to 470 megahertz. And yeah, this is the control panel that was located inside the car with a loudspeaker here, so you can hear what they say. Volume. I guess this is a call button, and I don't know what that is. Probably on off, and then push to talk. This is a simplex radio, by the way, so you need to push a button somehow to talk, and then you listen. So that is how it is. We got 8 channels and then a 0. Maybe 0 is power off, because there is a funny switch inside this control panel. If you look at that switch here, that is actually pretty smart. So that will save you some switches or some knobs on this control panel. It is quite compact. They really try to get as much in here as they could. Volume is just resistors in series with the loudspeaker, and that is power supply. As you can see, that is some really heavy duty 12 volt input, and that will be the microphone cable. So you had to install your microphone kind of closer to your head, and this way you will get quite good audio. Look at that, all those cables. Oh, there's actually a pretty cool detail about the channel switch. To save wires, it's actually multiplexed. I don't know if it's easy to see here, but you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there is a wire going through all the other. It's because they repeat the first 4. They are repeated again from 5 to 8, and then there is another signal activating a 5th relay. So that means 5 relays are used to change between 8 transmit and 8 receive crystals. So I really hope to find some crystals in here in the main unit. I haven't opened this one yet, by the way. All I saw was it is wired for 12 volts. This one can actually be wired for 6, 12 and 24 volts, and it's done inside this unit, and that will configure power supplies and all sorts of stuff. And this one is really modern for its time. Power supply is a switch mode converter. I really want to show you this in a second. Oh man, I needed to get the big nasty tools to get that connector off. Oh, look how much damage. I was all the way up and standing on this to get this off, and it's completely corroded. Oh, that is bad. I hope it's looking better inside. That is actually pretty cool mechanical construction. So when you release the top lid, and take away the top lid. Then the entire unit can be taken out from the bottom cover as well. And then you access the mounting holes for your screws. So they're hidden and it's looking really nice and cute here. Well, that's actually really nice. Good thinking. I think I'm very, very lucky with this unit. I think the rubber gaskets, they were really, really nice and tight. Because it looks brand new inside. But I just see somebody stole all the crystals. Also, here is a crystal needed. That means we are not able to make this transmit or receive. Because there's also another crystal missing here. So we got, that will be the receiver, right? And that will be the transmitter. And this is a crystal we need. And that will be the different channels. And that is the power supply. And down here is the voltage coding. So this piece here can be disconnected and rotated. So you can do 6 volts, 12 volts and 24 volts. That is how it works. Maybe I'll try to unplug that one to show you how it works. I think this is the RX-TX relay, or one of them, because there's also one in here. And that connects either the transmitter or the receiver to the antenna. Like I said, it is a simplex radio, so you can either listen or talk. Not both at the same time, as we are used to today. That is how it was in the good old days. This is beautiful. Look how mechanical, stable all this high frequency stuff is. It's really, really beautiful, beautiful design. Let's look at the other side. So now it's the other side. This is the receiver. This is the transmitter. And we are actually lucky to see some channel crystals installed, but without the other crystals we are not able to make this do anything at all. Too bad. It looks a little bit like this PCB here is gold plated. How nice. It is really, really good. In a super good shape. I think we will preserve this definitely. Because I got a Storno collector guy. I think he will be quite happy for this one. So that will be the adjustments for the tune circuits. Because this one contains a lot of doublers and triplers and all that to get it all the way up to 450 megahertz from 8 or 12 megahertz. They just go all the way up, only on a few stages. This one is actually also a doubler, and that is only a power output stage. So this is how voltage configuration is done. There should also be a 6 volts mode. I don't understand why that is. And I don't understand why those are like that. Well. And that goes in here. There is a loose part in here somewhere under inside the power supply. So when I turn this unit around, I hear some loose parts. That is a little bit weird. Don't you just love all those inductors like that? And the RX is also built with a lot of doublers and triplers and all that kind of stuff. That is a pretty tube. And they're running the receiver on only 100 volts. I think that is to preserve power, because that is running all the time. You can even see here, receiver channels 426, and then here we got the different transmitter frequencies, 441. So that will be the difference between RX and TX, and of course you'll see some really big good filters on the base station installation, because that will be able to handle all the different transmitters and receivers at the same time, of course. Oh, we got a special quality tube down here. Oh, all of them are special quality. Gold-plated pins and all the goody stuff here. Oh, yeah, definitely beautiful. So somebody spent quite a lot of hours building those. Can you imagine buying one of these in, what, 1965 and put this in your car? It must have been the big rich dudes, not some poor broke lad like me. Now I'm opening into the power supply to have a little look, because I can definitely hear some. Oh, I get some acid stuff on my fingers here. Now it's starting to, I don't know if you can see this, I'm all wet here, and it's starting to feel really weird. Better close my go and wash my fingers. There is acid damage from that capacitor here. Has been dripping all its acids and guts, and that has been hitting here, damaging those components, and everything here is a little bit sticky and gross to touch. Oh no. So that is a driver transformer, probably for the audio amplifier, and that one is of course the main power output amplifier. The audio amplifier and the switch mode converter is inside the same room here. I'm trying to find the power transistors, but I think they are on the other side. Everything here is actually in 2 layers, except for the transmitter and the receiver. Here is everything again in 2 layers. You just see the bottom side of one of them, and the other one looks identical to this, but it's full of components pointing in from both sides. I also found another broken capacitor down here. You can even see acid damage going down here. But other than that, it didn't spread a lot. So it is possible to fix that. I found the power transistors. They're hidden on the bottom, mounted in the aluminium frame for good thermal. And if you look at all the holes, so right now we got a TO3 type of transistor mounted. But again, look at all those holes. In 1960 to 70, this was the kind of transistors before TO3 took over. So this one fits as well. So that is why we have those double holes. One big fat power transistors. So I'm trying to get into the IF, demodulation and modulation sections. I think all that stuff is in here. But before we go and have a look here, I wanted to show you a little detail about this case. This is of course aluminium cast in one piece, and that is a very expensive way to manufacture a case like this. So all of those extra mounting holes you see here, they are not used in this model, and they are also in the receiver side. So that means this case can of course be reused for a lot of other products they maybe have in mind for the future. So just let's make all those really cool mounting slots here, or with holes and all that kind of stuff, right? All those holes, they are not in use. See? So we got all those and the threads and mounting, and this way this case is very, very usable for all sorts of things in the future. And there's actually a very funny design thing here. This is ground, chassis is ground, but here's, I've removed all the screws, okay? Ground, and then it is soldered to that point. That is weird, right? But here, it's connected to ground. So by design, the idea was, here we go to ground, right? We don't want ground to be connected other places, but oh yeah, we wanted that anyway. But we wanted it to be done this way. That's quite interesting. Yeah, I needed to desolder the wires, only a few wires to the input and the output of the filter. This is the 455 kilohertz filter section. Can you imagine all the alignment done on all those filters to create a very, very good and sharp filter? And this is needed to do FM. There's also the band selectivity and discriminator and all that FM kind of stuff. And we see a lot of initials here: GS, MP, RB. I saw also, yes, here LN. So quite a lot of people were involved in making and aligning this module. So down here we see also another module, and I believe this is modulation, both for the microphone and the loudspeaker filters. There's some squelch stuff, and there's also filters involved in both microphone and speaker signals, audio output signals. So that is probably all that kind of stuff here. And look at the way transistors they are mounted. So they're, oops, focus problem. I kind of like that as well, because now they're cooled down here, right? So that one. And again, transistors are cooled really good. That'll be a NTC, right? And a relay. There will be this squelch relay, if I'm not mistaken. See here again. Initials. Is that RB, RBS? It's probably, yeah, it's probably the same as this one, right? I actually managed to figure this out about the crystals. So here in the receiver section, see, the crystal socket is here, right? And here is a jumper, and there's supposed to be a capacitor here, but it's not mounted like that. So it's because they didn't remove the socket. It is not going to be populated. And that is of course because this receiver can of course be used in a single channel radio, but it can also be used in a multi-channel radio using relays to switch the crystal, the right crystal into this position, right? So that is the whole idea about this. There's not supposed to be a crystal here. It is disabled, and this is the wire to the crystal selector, and it is exactly the same in the transmitter section. There was also a crystal over here, remember, when we saw it from the top, and that has been disabled as well. So now we are running from this. So we actually got two channels mounted, TX1 and RX1, TX2, RX2. So we got two channels mounted. So if we didn't have this power supply blow up and capacitors and components that's completely corroded away, we should actually be able to boot this up and get it working. As far as I can see, that's the only 2 or 3 components that is a problem. So that should be definitely be possible. It's just not within the scope of the time that I have. I just wanted to show you one last thing about this the transmitter here. So there's only a PCB down here, right? Over here it's just flying components and all that. But this is actually massive copper. I just removed a little bit of the paint here. So it's painted so it's looking real nice and black. But it's 2 millimeter thick copper. So that must be very good for cooling as well. But it's only a 5 or 8 watt. You can select how much output power you want by changing a resistor somewhere. It's either this or one of the other resistors down here somewhere. Then you can configure the amount of output power you want. You got to see this. And this is one of the things that's been driving me absolutely nuts about this unit. There is some sort of a loose part somewhere in here. Try and listen real carefully. Now be quiet. Oh! I finally got it. What the heck is that? That little thing, oops, was driving me nuts. I can't have any little loose metal parts. I'm super happy. I found it. Yeah, it's gone. Yep. Now I just need to figure out where that was coming from.